Smith. Madam President, we are live.
Thank you. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope as we get closer, Cheryl and I were just talking about being prepared, that you get more prepared, but more importantly, that you slow down and enjoy what Christmas is all about. And whatever it means to you, I hope you make that happen. So we've got our president-elect on, Mary Lou. Good Lord, Mary Ann Hess. How did I get that? We have Ruth Post, who is one of our Region 9 directors. We have Cheryl Mooney, who's the president of the Florida Association of Clerks. We also have Kathy Mateo. She's one of Region 1 directors. I saw that Sue Haig is here. You just can't see her face right now, but she is the other Region 1 director. And I can't see everybody because there's just no way. I guess I need a really, really big screen. But if any other, particularly state presidents or directors for IMC, if you are on, will you please just speak up, introduce yourself, and say hello? Tori, I see you've connected. She's getting ready to connect with the audio. I can see that. Tori?
Hello.
Thank you. This is Tori Frank. She is one of 2 Region 3 directors.
My name is Sandy Maz. I am the president of the Municipal Clerks of Illinois.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Good to meet you. I don't think I've met you. Any other state presidents on? Any other directors? No? Okay. So I hope you are ready to hear some good news and mid-year report and just a couple of other things that when you sign up, you have the opportunity to put in your little subject line, any information you want to hear discussed, what you want to hear. And some people do, many don't. But just because you couldn't think of anything when you register doesn't mean that you can't unmute yourself and ask those questions. And if I certainly fail to answer anything correctly or we need more information, you do have board members and the president-elect on that will be willing to fill in those gaps. They helped me out a couple, 3 times this morning. So, it doesn't mean I know everything, and we always need help. So please feel free for those of you who are on here. The big thing that a lot of people wanted to know about was what you did at your mid-year meeting. And it's always useful for IMC members to know what the board does and decisions you make. And, maybe some of the reasoning as I see them that we went in whatever direction. So it took me 2 hours this morning to prepare for the 10 o'clock meeting. And I am going to use the same notes. That's why I'm saying if there's anything that I lack, you guys need to pick up after me. And just, you don't need to raise your hand, just go ahead. But, IMC staff has worked really hard with trying to save money and put into portfolio money that we might be able to use in a crisis situation. You never know what's going to happen. Should IMC need to fall back on and we needed additional funds, we now have a special fund with $1 million in it. That's not because we did anything except staff continued to cut corners and save money when they could. And when we had a good year at our conferences to put it aside. So because we have $1 million, staff presented to the board the idea of hiring a firm that could manage that money. Because we don't want to go in to it, but we want to grow it. And the only way that we can grow it is to hire a firm that has those expertise. And within that discussion, there were some questions about, what are they going to charge? How are they going to invest? just certain things that you need to think about when you're hiring a firm to do this. So Connie Parker, who is our accountant, and staff will be talking or interviewing a particular firm to see what they can do for us. And then they'll come back to the board and let the board know. So we think that is a great opportunity to grow our money and to become more stable and more fluid as we move forward for the future. I'm trying to set up my paper so I don't miss anything. So one of the other things, I apologize for looking down. There we go. So another thing that we did, if you are accustomed to going to the IIMC conference, as you know, which happened on Wednesday, they opened up the hotel reservations for the members. And I have done this in my past life before I was on the board, that if friends could not, because it opened up 12 o'clock Eastern Standard, 8 o'clock Pacific time, for you to call the hotel and get a reservation. And they fill it does fill up quickly. So so many like myself have been willing to reserve more than one room. So if 2 or 3 clerks could not, they let me know, I would reserve a room for them under my name, then they would call and change it. Unfortunately, what has happened over time is that as these rooms are being held, and as clerks decide or find out if they can or cannot attend, they let them go too late. And what that causes is, at the end, which it did for Little Rock, an attrition. And when we sign a contract with a hotel, we have to guarantee so many rooms for different nights of the conference. And if you're not accustomed to looking at contracts or knowing how this type of thing works, you never think about it. I didn't think about it. Quite frankly, I didn't think I needed to know. But what happens is that because the hotel fills up quickly, we go and find a backup hotel so those making reservations can move on to that hotel. Then we find out, once the backup hotel has been found, contracted, these rooms are let go. And what appeared to be a full conference hotel is no longer a full conference hotel. The rooms that we have guaranteed for any given night do not fill up, and that leads to attrition, which means we have to pay money back. We lose our perks, because for so many rooms in the hospitality industry, you get little perks and things like that. So staff brought to the board the opportunity, and it is an opportunity, and that's why I hope you don't take exception to what I'm, calling it an opportunity, is that if you make your room reservation and you do not attend the conference and you cancel it, then you will be charged the first night of whatever that hotel room cost. If you make, for me, 5 rooms and they're canceled, then you will have to pay for 5 nights. Now, there's a caveat to that, is that if you make a hotel reservation and you have to leave for any particular reason early, you're not charged that first night, because that doesn't even come into this conversation. However, if you have to cancel and you have mitigating circumstances, and we could think of a plethora of mitigating circumstances, but those discussions and cancellations will be taken with the staff. Chris Shelby, I call her our party person, but she actually is our hotel person who helps us work with the hotel and the tourism industry in a particular city, and look on a case-by-case basis to see if you need to cancel, if it's mitigating circumstances, to agree to allow not to have that charge. But if you decide just to cancel because you all of a sudden got invited to a cruise, lucky you, but you're going to have to pay that first night. So the board really discussed this. What about this? But it's all about the members and how you might feel about this. So we hope that you'll understand our reasoning to do this. Our first year, this is brand new. So I assure you that staff did not make this decision lightly, but it does affect everybody. Hold on. So the next thing that we talked about is also a staff recommendation. And over the years, there's only been a handful of opportunities whenever I'm getting my CMC or MMC, I may accidentally leave paperwork out, or I may accidentally attach the wrong paperwork when I'm trying to get my certifications. As staff is going through this, they really felt very uncomfortable in how to approach a member in regards to needing more information. Why did you submit this? Did you forget this? So they wanted the board to approve a policy that gave them some guidance. So if I'm trying to get my certification and I miss something, then staff is going to give me a call and say, hey, Pamela, this information is wrong. This information was attached incorrectly. You forgot this or whatever. And then it will be up to Pamela to come back to them and provide the information. If I get busy and I forget about it, then that application will be suspended until I decide to follow up back with IIMC staff. So what the board was concerned about is that we would have a member out there with an application that once we left it up to the member, it might get lost in the thick of things or just in minutia of doing every day. So after 6 months or so, staff member will follow up with that member if we're waiting for information to say, hey, did you forget about this? Because we'd like to complete your application and provide your certification. So staff feels more comfortable now that the board is aware of this. Happens on occasion, very few occasions, but at least they have a way to, have talking to people and getting everything taken care of, because we don't want to hinder anybody from working a long time and then waiting to get their CMC or MMC. So that was another thing that we afforded staff to do. At the end of October, I thought you might find it interesting that we have 4,484 CMCs. We have 1,372 MMCs. And even though there's a wonderful, wonderful numbers, I wish we would do more and push our members to do lifelong learning, to send in their information to get their CMC and MMC. So if you know anybody who's working, do they need help with anything? Do they understand how to do the process? They can talk to you, your state association, call IMC, staff is always there, or more importantly, get in touch with your director for your region, one of two, and they will have that information for you. But we're here to help you. So we would like your help in talking to your friends and talking to your members. How excited were you when you got your designations? And I can tell you how I felt. And it was an awful good feeling each time that I was able to get those designations. So we would just really love to see more of our members going forward with that. The next thing that we had an opportunity to hear about, I'm sure you're interested about, is what we used to call the MMC Beyond program. And, past President Sherry Pierce, this has been one thing that she's been very passionate about and has been pushing forward. And when Dr. Rodriguez came on, it was already in the works. So she took this program, which is now called Education Plus Program. So we're going to be calling it the acronym of EPP. This is a program for MMCs that will be able to go forward and obtain more education to let your board, your mayor, your city manager, or whoever you have to report to, there's more out there for me. We as IMC members signed on to do lifelong learning. This is another opportunity for lifelong learning. There's a couple of things about it though. You have to be an MMC. You have to be in good standing. you have to be a member for 5 years. No, you have to be a full member. Help me if I miss it, guys. A full member, an additional full member, or a retired member to sign up for this program. And it will cost $200. This hopefully will be released in June of 2023. It will take 3 years for you to obtain the first level or the first class. So every year you will get or work toward 10 additional hours, not points, but hours of education. You will have to send in, of course, like you do with MMC or CMC, your certificate, to show that you've got those 10 hours. No education you've done previously will count toward these hours. You get 10 hours every year for 3 years. You cannot get additional points or, hours for this in the same year to carry it over for the next year. Every year it's 10 new hours. So once you hand it in, staff will let you know if it's been approved. Then they will let you know when you can begin your new 10 hours because it's on a 3-year basis. 1 year, 10 hours, 2 years, 10 hours, 3 years, 10 hours. And then we haven't decided if you're certified, you have something behind your name, but you'll be approved for this EPP. So I guess that will be more to come. She's got some education, meaning Dr. Rodriguez, some education guidelines to redo to put this together. And I'm sure that we all will be hearing more about this as the first class of MMCs go through this to experience it. We're probably going to be guinea pigs and then get better at what we're trying to do to get this education off the ground. Does anybody on the board or Mary Ann have anything you would like to speak to this, to those that are on the Zoom? No? Okay, Mary Ann says no. Kathy? Ruth? Okay, I just want to make sure we're all in agreement because, I don't always know everything and my understanding may not be their understanding. So that's a good thing. Okay, chalk one up for me, all right? So another thing the board did with a lot of discussion was to increase the membership dues by $10. We are very interested in our members carrying the cost of the IIMC conference and making sure that we're able to pay for what we need to pay for. All of us want more. And every time we come back with your suggestions or your comments on the annual conference, we're looking for more. So it was necessary to increase the dues by $10. We also afforded staff a 5% COLA. So you don't know, but staff has never received a COLA. So they've always received now and again a bonus of whatever Chris suggested and the budget and planning agreed to, which went to the board to decide if they also agreed, which was a recommendation from staff, and they got a bonus. But as inflation increases, the bonuses are not good enough, which is not the way we do business in our own cities. Our boards or our administration decides if we receive a COLA and what that COLA might be. So the Budget and Planning Committee asked the executive director that if he's interested in providing COLAs for his employees, that he bring it to the Budget and Planning Committee, which will be discussed and then taken to the board to decide if the board is interested in doing that. There will be no more bonuses, but a COLA like they should get. So again, we have decided to provide them a 5% COLA for this year. Also, we have approved the hiring of a part-time financial specialist. So some time ago, maybe 3 or 4 years, we had an employee by the name of Denise, who was our office manager or operations manager, and she helped to manage our building, work with our tenants, provide whatever repairs through contractors, all those. She moved to Florida about 3 years ago, and Chris has been doing the management of this along with staff help from time to time, and it has become unmanageable because Janet Pantaleon, which is one of our employees who is the financial specialist, has been doing part of that. And as you know, when you're trying to do 15 jobs, you don't do anything very well. So Chris came to the board and asked, could he have a part-time financial specialist, which has been very hard to find. And we said yes, because it is necessary. As the membership grows, our employees and their responsibilities grow. So we need to take care of them to serve our members. So Janet will be moving into the office manager operations person, and whoever the specialist is, keep your fingers crossed we can find the right person, will take over the finances, and Janet will do backup. So my question to Chris was, backup? When is she going to have time to do backup? But like we all do, we do backup as good as we can whenever we're requested. But just to let you know that we will be hiring a part-time employee as soon as he can find the right person with the right credentials and somebody who's willing to work part-time. With that said, the next thing we discussed was Region 8. If you remember, Region 8 had requested that they split their 11 states. There is no other region in the United States that has 11 states, which means on a rotation basis for them to go from state to state, if for their 2 directors, would take a person 33 years to be a director for Region 8. So it went to the Constitution, and then we talked about this last May as an amendment. The membership said, yes, we'll split Region 8. Then they had to come up with a name. So the current Region 8 directors, past Region 8 directors, all state presidents have met to decide how they wanted to continue this. And we now have one new region, Region 8 East and Region 8 West. Each region will now have the ability to choose their 2 directors on a rotating basis, and the board agreed to allow them to use whatever process they wanted and to choose, the incoming directors. So your Region 8 East states will be Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, Nebraska, North and South Dakota. Your Region 8 West will be Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, Idaho, and Arizona. So we have 12 districts, but 1 is East and 1 is West, to give them ample opportunity to be represented. So another reason we needed to split this, not every state in these 2 now Region 8 West and East have academies. So within their district of East and West, they will now be able to have a closer opportunity to get the education they need in order to get their CMCs and MMCs. So we now have an additional region that has been split. So that means rather than 24 board of directors, we will have 26 board of directors going forward. So as you know, the last 2 or 3 years, we've had numerous constitutional amendments that have come to the members, and some of it, the discussion has been very difficult. So as the board is discussing about these last year's constitutional amendments, it was understandable that we really needed to review the Constitution as a whole. And by doing that, hopefully we could keep from constitutional amendments and numerous constitutional amendments being done every year. So this year I appointed a task force, which is called the Constitutional Task Force. They went through the Constitution and came back to the board and made some recommendations. The board looked at all of the recommendations and had additional recommendations within what the task force was asking the board, so that we sent it back to the task force for further discussion. And after they meet and decide and go through the recommendations from the board, then it will come back to the board for discussion, which means if the board says yes and they approve, it will come to the membership in May. And there'll be an open discussion at the business meeting. Then those amendments will go to the members, like all amendments do, to be voted on. Keeping in mind that anything that changes in the Constitution or is proposed to be changed will be its own individual amendment to the Constitution. And then hopefully, if it is passed every 5 years, there will be a review, and that president will appoint a task force to review it so that we can stay current. Somebody asked about additional virtual educational sessions. As you know, this last year, and since Dr. Rodriguez has been on board, she's been trying to provide 2 additional virtual educational sessions each quarter. And she will, again, for 2023, work to do 2 additional educational sessions. So as soon as you see them on the Wednesday e-comments that come out, or the news digest come out once a month, please look for those additional virtual sessions. They'll be front and center like they always, but I've only been able to attend a couple, but they're excellent. And you do get points for attending these that you can use for certification. And she's put on some very excellent sessions thus far. And I think if you talk to anybody that has joined any one of the 2, 4, 6, 8 last year, you will probably hear from them that they were enjoyable. They were at the highest mark they possibly could be. So, and then Karen just said that the spring quarter courses will be posted soon so that you can register for them. And if you register and end up not being able to attend, you can go to our YouTube channel and you'll have the ability to see the session. So if you register, you pay your $50, something comes up, you don't lose the money, you don't miss the session, you'll be able to go back on the YouTube channel and be able to take that session. So that is a good thing. So somebody also asked about the May conference and what they could look for. The hotel, opened up on Wednesday after the first of the year. We will again be registering virtually. I know that they had to redo the app and do some additions and create some better ways of doing some things. So look out for that information coming out. The sooner you register, once it comes out, you'll be able to get the educational sessions you're looking for. And remember that if you go back to the opening of the hotel on Wednesday, it did have some teasers of the sessions that you may have the opportunity. It also gave you the pre-conference sessions if you come on Saturday, Sunday. And if you don't want to do a pre-conference session, remember there's 2 Athenians on Saturday and 2 Athenians on Sunday. So you have the ability to do an Athenian if you're trying to get your Athenian fellowship. So now that I've talked about that, somebody asked about Athenian fellowship. So you have to read 10 books. Who can't read 10 books? I'll be honest with you, some of the books I've read have not been my favorite. Some of them have been literally horrible. But with that said, every dialogue that I've been in has been excellent. I actually look forward to it. And the reason being is everybody has a different opinion, a different take on it. You can do an in-person Athenian. Most of them now, since we can't get out of the office, is virtual. So all you have to do, you can go online and see when any state, university, or whomever is given an Athenian. You pay the cost, you read the book. I listen to books because I'm an Audible fan. And then if I normally buy the book and give it to the library, but I love to listen because sometimes I need to do it more than one time. Yesterday, I did the Clint Pulver book. I can't even, let's see what the name of it is. The name of it was I Love It Here. And this is the guy that was at our conference last year that played the drums and had a lot of energy. And he talks about, who are the employees in your office? Have you hired the right people? Have you ever hired the wrong people? He actually interviewed people at employment and bosses, and some of the bosses were very surprised at their employees weren't happy and they were looking for another job. So what do you find in your own administrations and your employees? So it was very, very good, but it only takes 10 dialogues to get your Athenian Fellowship. And I would encourage anybody here that is not an Athenian Fellow to work towards that. I learn something every time I read a book, but I really learn a lot when I do the dialogue. So they're all excellent. Books are not so excellent. The dialogues are awesome. So I have really enjoyed that. Going back to the May conference, the first thing you need to know is that there is a 2023 Facebook page for the May conference that the host committee has created. And Karen is going to post the link to it. I would encourage you to visit it and become a member, because every time they post something, a picture or whatever they're doing, you'll be able to see that. And of course, you'll get your Facebook notification. I've posted, not recently, but I have posted before about going to Minneapolis and the city being a big city. And she just posted it if you see it on your chat box. But it's a huge city, but it's a small town, if that makes sense. We walked almost every inch of it. The restaurants are fabulous. We went to a different restaurant when I did the tour of the host hotel, not one restaurant. It was fabulous. The food is great. It's walkability. The only thing they don't have close when I was there was a Starbucks, but it had closed due to COVID, and they were hoping for it to open up. There was a coffee shop. It just wasn't Starbucks. I just want to warn you, possibility. However, the host committee is working really hard. The theme for Tuesday night will be like a Prince theme, lots of purple, get your ruffles on, lots of music, lots of food. So that should be really fun. We're in one hotel, conference centers attached, all the sessions, the vendor hall, everything. Silent auction will be held in one place. So you just come down from your room. There's a huge place to sit and enjoy each other. And then beside the desk, you just walk to the conference room, which is pretty cool. So with that said, you also have the opportunity to visit, drum roll, Paisley Hall. If you don't know what Paisley Hall is, I'll be glad to tell you. It's where Prince lived. He recorded, he entertained. It is an awesome place. I got the opportunity to do a tour, and it's just great. There are different tours you can take depending on the amount of money that you want to spend. It's about 20-30 minutes outside of Minneapolis. You're going down the highway, and all of a sudden you turn at a light and you're going, what? And it's this weird looking building, doesn't look like a house, doesn't even look like an office building. And they said, well, this is Paisley Hall. And I'm Paisley Park. I'm going, what? But it is, it's different looking, and it's awesome inside. They even have a gift shop. Of course, yes, I bought something. I bought a lot of somethings, but that was a fun thing to say that, I had the ability or opportunity to go to Paisley Park. They also have about 15-20 minutes from the hotel, a cultural art sculpture park. Really, really cool. If you go to the 2023 Facebook page, you'll see some pictures that I posted. And I even did some walkabout little videos so you could see that. Also, the restaurant downtown, I think is First Avenue, is where Prince filmed Purple Rain. And it's a really cool old place, but you just get the jive of, wow, Prince was here, and on the side of the buildings, all these stars of all these people who have played in this place. And of course, looking down the street, there's also this huge picture that has been painted of Prince on one of the business buildings. So a lot of things to offer. We're going to have an off session. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but let me tell you, you pay a little extra and it'll be worth it. It is going to be fantabulous. So even though I've been there and I know what the subject is, if I can get registered for it, I want to be doing it again, because it's a learning opportunity, but what you're going to see is just going, it's just going to be awesome. So I'm hoping that you will take all of this and get excited about the 2023. As every conference, the conference committee is working hard. They're excited that we're coming, and Minneapolis is a great place to be. So remember, the conference is earlier next year than we're accustomed to it. It's like starts 14th on Sunday or 15th of May. Usually we're the week of Memorial Day, but not this year. We could only get it at a particular time. So I wanted to remind you to sign up for a committee. Now is the time. Your deadline is January 24th. If you know anybody who's interested, you get a point for being on a committee every year. You work by Zoom. It's not hard. You meet new people. You get to talk to different people. You go to a conference and then you see, wow, I saw you on Zoom, which is really cool. Our president-elect will, be appointing committee members. So get your president-elect, which will be Lisa Garcia, and our new president, Mary Ann, will be appointing the committee members and letting you know. So I'd encourage you to join a committee and to become a member, because if not, you don't get how IIMC works. And it's important that you are able to do that. So mentoring, if you need a mentor, I always encourage people to be a mentor and be a mentee. We all need help from time to time. And the people that are your bestest friends in the clerk world mentor you every day. You just don't realize it. But find somebody you don't know or offer to mentor so you can be a mentor to somebody who needs your help. Somebody asked about being a facilitator. How do you be a facilitator for an Athenian dialogue? And there is some criteria. It is all on the IIMC website. So first thing you need to do is to find a facilitator, right? Somebody who's already doing it, who can be your mentor. And you go on the website and you can find who your facilitators are just by doing a search. Beside their name, it'll be a yes or a no if they're interested in mentoring. And all you need to do is choose that person, give them a call. If they're interested and it works out for you, you have to have 6 hours with that mentor. You also have to be a member in good standing, and you also will get to do through your mentor, before your facilitator, create an agenda, create activities that enhance the dialogue, select an assessment tool, because you have to create the assessment tool that people will have to answer and send back to you in order to get their certificate. You'll have to bring in different additional resources, not just read a book, but is there additional things that might enhance what you want to do? You're going to decide what book you want to use, and IMC has a list. You're also, if you find a book, once you become a facilitator, you will need to talk to Dr. Rodriguez. She's the one who is going to work with you to approve the book, but you have that ability. But you also have to prepare the presentation. You want to get from your mentor past experiences, what worked, what didn't. reflecting on dialogues to give you information. And then you have to fill out an application for Athenian facilitator, and you have to send with it the mentor-mentee agreement. And then Dr. Rodriguez will look at all of that and see if you've done what is necessary to be a facilitator. Also on the website where it gives you their names and if they're a mentor or not, will tell you how many's in any particular region. So that might be helpful as well. I believe that I've covered everything that I intended to cover. Does anybody have any comments or questions about what I've covered or other than what I've covered? Anything? I have to do all the talking all the time. What is up with that? Well, I hope that means I've explained everything and you understand it. Not that you just don't want to speak up. Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate that. You know, I do hope that you have a Merry Christmas. I hope you take time for yourself. I hope that you regenerate, because this is probably one of the times in our careers every year that we slow down somewhat and we're able to spend it with family and friends and realize what the true meaning of Christmas is about. What we share with each other and how important it is. But it might be the time where you contact somebody special in IMC and let them know that they're special. You know, it just takes a phone call, an email, a card. I'm a big card giver, even if I just say, just thinking about you today, because I think it's important that we're remembered. And as busy as we are, I'm sitting down in front of the TV and trying to, I got the first part of Christmas cards out. Now I've got to get the second part of my Christmas cards out because I believe in Christmas cards. I even sent virtual ones this year. So some people will be surprised over that. But, you know, if you don't regenerate, you can't be there for your employees or for your city. You can't be there for your family, and you surely can't be there for each other. And I think that's really important because we all have different things going on in our lives, different crises that are happening, and what we are involved in make a difference in who we are. But, you know, one thing that I found out this year, and if you've already read the News Digest, in my message for this month, it's about community service and a service heart. That was kind of put in my face recently, is that the reason we are public service is because we care for our communities. And the reason your directors serve on the board is because they care about their regions and they care about the members. And if they didn't, we wouldn't have a board. So sometimes it's hard to step up, to step out, and to be outside your comfort zone. But I think in this day and age, we need more people to be more interested and to help each other rather than being involved with yourself. It's easy to kind of sit there and be involved with yourself and not to open up your eyes and see what's going on around you. But I want you, and I hope for you, to get involved in IMC and to be more and to do more. Set your goals and set them really high. See what you can do in your career. And when you look back, you know, I know each of you are involved differently in your community. So I'm hoping that 2023 will, you know, I will say this, the commitment for myself that I make of these crazy New Year's resolutions is what? To lose weight. That is the stupidest resolution I make every year, because I disappoint myself every single year. So I think as women, that's what we do. Men, I'm sure they do that too. But so I'm going to try to make a better resolution this year than just losing weight. I need something else. But, you know, we all have it within our power to make somebody else's life better. And you have it within your power to make your staff better, to make IIMC better. And each of us have made those commitments differently. So I just hope that you will consider that and do more with IIMC, because without you, we would not exist. and decide how you can do something different with IMC. I know Mary Ann would love to have 200 committee applications to appoint. That would be awesome. And if you can see your way clear to be on a Zoom 2 or 3 times a year with your committee, because the board will provide whatever assignments, and it comes from the board, that they think that needs to be researched or things that need to be done. Whenever we have members that say, well, what about this? That's how the assignments come. A member has an idea, a board of directors sees something that we need to pay attention to, and that's how you get your assignments. So don't be afraid to join a committee, and you might like it, who knows? That's how I learned how IMC works. So we've got, my watch says 10 minutes. Surely one of you can say something besides me. Please.
Can I jump in?
Please, Mary Ann, jump in.
Well, thank you for all your words, and we appreciate your News Digest article. That was very sweet. And I really would love to have a stack of committee applications to go through. This is where the real work of IMC comes in, is in those committees. And I just cannot stress the importance of being on these committees. And another way you can be involved is next week, Mississippi is hosting the Region 4 conference. We're going to be hosting Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana. So we are looking forward to that. And I want to encourage you, this is another way you can get to know clerks from other states. Perhaps you can't make it to Minneapolis. I hope you can. But please go to your region meeting. You will meet wonderful people close to you, and you'll have wonderful classes and quite possibly some fun in the mix. I know we have a mystery dinner theater. We've done that before, and that was just a hoot. So we're going to have a great time. So I really want to encourage you to get involved in committees, region directors, and I would love to see everyone in Minneapolis. And lastly, I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Anybody else? Have y'all lost your voice? No? Yes? Anything special going on in your state that you'd like to tell whoever's on the Zoom? They might be jealous. You're doing whatever and they want to do it and they can't. It gives them an idea. That's a possibility. No?
I like your idea of calling somebody special and telling them that you're thinking about them. I think that's really important this time of year because you never know what somebody might be going through, and you just might make their day.
Thank you, Cheryl. That's true. You know, we saw on TV last night here is almost the deadline to provide a gift, and it was not for children. It was for seniors. So, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking Christmas, I always think of kids. And that just went, wow, you know, you don't think about seniors in nursing homes who may not have family or who are disassociated with their family that need that attention. And that might be the only thing they get for Christmas. So I thought that was a good idea. I think Saturday's the deadline. So I want to go and choose an older gentleman and an older lady and see if I can. I'll never know if it means anything to them, but it will make me feel like I am trying to make somebody else happy. You know, we don't do Christmas in my house. It's just I don't know why dogs don't give you a Christmas present, but they just don't. Except a lot of licks and a lot of hugs. But my husband and I decided years ago, you know, we get what we want anyway. So no reason to do Christmas. So if we can give a gift to somebody who's less fortunate than we are, even if it's a small something, it might make a big difference in them thinking somebody cares. We all need to know somebody cares. And that's why, you know, COVID gave us this opportunity for these virtual meetings with the president, because I think we're able to touch each other's lives in a different way. Because before this, I just would gander to think that we might not have known who the president was. And if you don't attend a board meeting or the annual conference, did you really ever get to see who that president was? And you vote on it when they're vice president, because actually when you vote for vice president, you're voting for the president. So with that said, this year we have 3 candidates. And our voting, I think, will go out sometime the 1st of March for the ballots. So once you get that ballot, please don't put it off. Please vote. But more importantly, call somebody and say, did you get a ballot? Because it's important that you vote for whoever you want for your next president, vice president, president-elect, and then president. To have a voice, just like you vote for people in your own lives, president of the United States or whoever. One vote makes all the difference in the world. You have a voice. I always tell somebody, if they're talking to me or they're griping, particularly, politics, I usually don't talk politics. I'll say, well, did you happen to vote? If they tell me no, I don't want to talk to you, because you shouldn't have an opinion if you can't go to the polls. My opinion, don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but that's exactly what I believe. So you have control over who's the next vice president when you get that ballot. And I hope that you will read the information. If you need to go on their Facebook pages, I know each of them have an election Facebook page. You have Janice Bates from Ohio, Don Abram Sunham. I don't think I did that right. From California. Oh, that was terrible. And Stephen Haight from Canada. So each of them have great qualifications. They each feel like they have something to offer. I would encourage you to read what that is and make your own decision and be able to, put somebody that you really want to see in office. It's important. It truly is, so that we can have people that will step up. Gee, people, you're just driving me crazy this afternoon. I still have 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
President Pamela, this is Camilla.
Hey, Camilla.
I know we've got Tori online, but I would be remiss if we didn't promote South Carolina hosting Region 3, February 14th through the 17th. We'll be in Charleston at the Isle of Palms. It'll be a great time. We've got an Athenian dialogue. Y'all look us up and come join us in South Carolina.
Awesome. And Isle of Palms, if you don't know, is right off on the coast of Charleston. So it also give you an opportunity to go to Charleston for the first time or the 10th time and have a good time. South Carolina does put on a great conference, and so I guess we're done. I do wish you again a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I wish you the best. And look inside the News Digest. It gives you the next 3 president coffee, tea, or whatever you want to call them. Please encourage people to sign up. And if they have questions or need information, to let us know the topics they want to be talked about, and we'll do our best. So Merry Christmas, guys. Take care of yourself. See you in 2023.